The show will start shortly, so while you wait, let's get to know your hosts. Kim and Carlos are a married couple, grew up in the same small town, and met because of sports. Here's a blast from the past of what we were like back then. Fun facts about Carlos: he was our high school basketball star, and he ran a leg of the Olympic torch run for the 1984 Olympics. I was a freshman when Carlos was a senior. He wrote these messages to me in our yearbook back in 1985. We decided to start our podcast in 2023. Our first season used this cover art. The first season was our memoir about getting your child through cancer. The name of our show has deep meaning for us because doctors would always blow us off with these two words, typical and unique. We made this montage part of our intro for a while.
Hit with so many typicallys and uniques.
Oh, yes, that is very typical. We see it all the time.
Don't worry about it. That's typical, you know.
Oh, every child is unique, so we can't say what is typical.
That's typical. See you later. You know.
Well, that's unique. We don't really see that very much.
Yeah, typical or unique.
Since then, we took a break from podcasting and came back with season 2 as a discussion podcast, mostly discussing true crime. We can talk about almost anything on here, though. And we thank you for joining us. Now, if you're ready, let's get into it. Welcome back to Typically Unique. I'm Kim Aponte, and I'm here with my husband, Carlos.
Hello. And so we made it through a week of Big Brother.
Yes.
So we saw one full cycle, finally.
So now we got it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, no, I don't.
Because you expect the unexpected.
Yeah, I still don't got it because the game has changed a little bit from last year, and I'm still trying to understand all the AI stuff and the veto stuff and the 3 nominees stuff and the head of household stuff, and so I still got some work to do, but it was good to see a full cycle, so we know what days what things will be. Yeah, and we learned Thursday night was eviction night, so AI arena and eviction on Thursday. Right. So, yeah. Veto they'll do on Wednesday, and I guess picking up from Wednesday, Lisa took herself off the block because she won the veto. So she put Matt up. So coming into Thursday. Right. We're talking about eviction night. Yeah. So coming in on Thursday, because the previous episode that we review before the next episode, like tonight's, Matt, Kenny, and Chemo are the 3 folks that are on the block at the start of the show on Thursday night. Yep. So, I wasn't too surprised that those would be the 3. I knew Chemo, unless he won the veto, had no chance of coming off the block. Right. So, but I guess we'll get into a little bit later, but I didn't think he would be in any harm's way. But I didn't think he'd be sent home. Yeah, I think the 2, kind of targets were either Matt or Kenny, so so be it. And everybody was assuming one of them would win the veto, or the AI challenge. But I guess to start, so the episode kind of begins with who's on the block, and people are starting to decide, campaign, and I think Kenny was kind of like, I really don't want to campaign against Matt. So I think that was kind of known throughout the house that he felt like that was his son, and they had some symbiotic relationship because they were both. Big time, he said that. Yeah. So I think Angela at some point got wind of that, right? And wanted to have a little heart-to-heart with Kenny about, hey, go out there and campaign against this guy or something, and he was having none of it. Nope. And he was just like, he didn't react to her. It was like the perfect response to her because he showed no emotion. He was just stoic and was like, basically, I'm not listening to you. I don't agree with you. You're the one that put me here. Yeah, I'm here because of you. Now I'm going to do your bidding. So, that was interesting on her part. But I don't know. At the end of the day, she got probably the right person on the block. However, it got there,
Yeah, but it's how she did it. Yeah.
It's the how, right? That's causing some issues. But Matt, the opposite of that was Matt kind of went out there.
He went crazy.
Yeah, he started trying to garner votes. And
the way he did it.
I was just going to say, you had a really good take on the way that he was kind of doing it, which ultimately may have backfired a little bit, but explain to our folks here what you were telling me about that, because that was a really good take.
Yeah, if anybody else noticed this, in the history, the past few years of Big Brother, especially at the very beginning of the season, it was don't go against the house, don't vote against the house. So everybody would go around and talk to each other, and whatever the collective members of the house decided, I'm just going to do what the house wants to do. So I'm not going to make anybody mad. And I don't want to be that one vote that stands out, because in the past, they will hunt that person down to find out who it was. Whether you really did it or not, if they think you did it, then you become the target. And so that's how it would normally go.
Right.
So Matt took that approach, and he kind of only went to a few people. He didn't really have the majority, and he needed 6 votes. So 11 people were going to be voting.
Right.
He needed to get 6. And he just went to the first couple people and was like, well, I have all these people, and here's what the house is saying. And he was trying to use that. And it seemed the way they aired it that everybody was buying it, but that turns out not to be true.
Right. And the other part of that too, though, which it was a really good point by you and bringing that up. The other part of that, even if it's a small block, so say, 3 or 4 people, not just one person is not part of the house vote. The 3 or 4 people are not part of the house vote, because remember, there's still 2 people who can't vote, that are on punishment. But then that becomes like you're drawing a line, like I'm on this side of the house and everybody else is on this side of the house. So that's why it's so important in previous Big Brother episodes to vote as one collective, because you're not showing your alliance hand, or you're not the lone wolf out there trying to stir things up. So really good point by you on that. And it was kind of interesting that Matt took that tack, which was actually kind of smart. But
yeah, it was a good, good try.
Yeah, but I guess we'll, at some point we'll know how the vote goes. But I don't know if it was really worth the time that he did it. But so 11 people were voting, because I just mentioned that 2 could not vote because they were still on that AI punishment from opening night, Cedric and Chelsea. So they were on punishment. So 11 people will vote. So he needed to get 6 votes to stay in the house. And I don't know if he saw some of the writing on the wall or anything, but I think him and Mackenzie started to hang out a little bit more, and
they did show their little montage of hanging out together, and they were trying to get she's still kind of playing a little hard to get, but they were having a little bit more serious talk, like, what do you look for in a partner,
right
things like that.
And I don't know, it's, maybe outside of the game, these showmances, predicting, would a showmance work? I don't know. I just don't think, I think there's the initial attraction
of course.
People, that kind of bring you together, but they just didn't seem like a match, to me. I don't know.
There wasn't that fire.
It didn't seem like it,
There's been some in the past that were just instantaneously like, who is that one redhead girl that was like, don't mess with my man.
Yeah.
And there's been some long-lasting relationships that have come out of that show.
I think I heard a stat somewhere that Big Brother has
yes.
more long-term relationships than The Bachelor.
Yeah. Yes. More matches, long-lasting matches than The Bachelor, which is hilarious.
Yeah. But I don't know. This one just didn't seem to have enough because, there's always that maybe initial retraction. Oh, he's cute, she's cute, and all that stuff. But you have to have something in common that like bonds you together. And it just seemed like they were in two different places. I don't know. I maybe I'm just, getting old and frumpy, but I do love a good love story, but that one just didn't seem to get it for me.
No. I mean, hopefully I do like that part of the show. So I hope there's something else, even if it's just friendships. I just like to see those bonds.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you can't help it when you're locked in a house with people like that.
For sure.
Yeah. So then, Angela kept trying with Kenny, because after the first time when he kind of didn't react, then she went hardcore like she does and was trying to should him and tell him what to do, and it got a little uglier that time.
You accented the word should. So I'm going to do a little sidebar here for a minute. We're
that's a trigger with me.
Yeah, well, we're a married couple of over 27 years now.
I know.
Yeah. And so we've been to, counseling and, we've, dove deep in our marriage and then our childhood to make sure that, we are communicating well for each other, for our children, for our mental health, all that. And one of the big things that they say a lot is we should each other. Like, Kim, you should do this, and Carlos, you should do that, and to our kids, you should do this.
Yeah, it's not healthy to do to somebody.
It is not. I think people come to you maybe for suggestions or help or a conversation, and if you sit there and you say you should do this, and I've been through life, and then it doesn't go over well. And I don't think Angela ever got the basic 101.
And there's a lot of people that haven't gotten that message.
The basic 101 counseling that you should
somebody.
Yeah, so that's why she accented the should.
That's right.
So I picked that up, but I just wanted to make sure everybody out there picked it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I just wanted to say one more thing about Kenny, because he even said out loud that he surprised himself at how he was feeling about Matt. Like, he did not come into the house feeling that way, but he said he's like a son to me, and I didn't really want to put someone else in front of me playing the game. But he was kind of reflecting on his whole life. He's like, look, I'm a happily married guy. I want to go back home to my wife and not going to bother me. And I just love that, because I think when you reach a certain age, you get a different perspective. And, I really liked that.
And I think he felt like Matt was on a similar track, maybe not the exact same one, because I don't think he would follow in Kenny's footsteps and what he did in his career. But, he had mentioned that his father was, in similar lines of work and things like that. And I just thought that he saw a younger version of himself in Matt and wanted to see somebody like that succeed, because Kenny felt, like you said, he's had success in his life and he's reached a pinnacle in some areas in his life and is happy with it. I feel the same way. I don't think I need to achieve anything else in my life. I think the goals that I wanted to achieve in my life, I did, and my only goal is to die happily with this woman, and that's it. There's nothing else I really need to achieve going forward. So I see some of that in Kenny and what he was talking about.
We get it, Kenny.
Yep. Yeah, we got you, Kenny.
So then they went into the AI arena.
Yeah, man, I want to talk about this competition, but tell your side first. But save me some room for this competition, because
I'll just the game was them having to watch these different screens flash the people in the house on the screen multiple times. It was called glitch. So it would glitch these pictures, and they had to figure out who was represented the most after all those screens were shown.
Yes.
So the angle they showed on TV was we couldn't see all of them. Chemo was off in one corner by himself. Kenny and Matt were together kind of doing it. And I was, whenever they do these competitions, don't you sit there, especially when they're puzzles and things like that, you try to do it yourself. You try to figure out. So I picked the person that Matt picked. I'd be good for nothing.
Yeah. So everything you said exactly what I wanted to say about this, because I like the part of Big Brother that I like when it comes to some of these competitions, and some of these puzzles that they pull out. We will play along sometimes, right?
Yeah, out loud.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but we'll
say the answer first.
Yeah, we'll play along. And this wasn't a very interactive game for the viewer to see, because it was very small. There was I thought I saw 3 screens going at the same time. There were probably more. I couldn't. I don't know if they were showing all something different or something the same, because I was trying to look at one and see what I could see, and it was just weird to me that this whole competition was not television friendly for the viewer. That's part of the fun of Big Brother, is we are interactive in the game as well in some ways, and I had no idea what was going on.
I don't know. I was watching and I was counting myself, but I was way and the correct answer
was
I
Quinn.
was like, what?
Yeah.
Who? I didn't even see his picture on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good part about that was, which really added to the rest of the episode, Chemo won. Because I had a feeling.
Yes, I was so happy for him.
I want to say a little bit about Chemo too, but finish this thought. When Chemo won, I thought, okay, this is going to be a better vote and could be, interesting, because I felt if Chemo won, I didn't think anybody would vote Chemo out.
Right.
I just thought it would be a landslide one. So having these 2 guys left, Kenny and Matt, lent itself to a little bit of suspense in the vote. Right. So that's where I kind of landed. But I do want to get back to Chemo, but I want to hear your thoughts about Chemo winning.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
Well, he is a super fan.
He is a super fan. And, it wasn't a physical competition.
True.
So that was on his side.
No disrespect, Chemo.
But it was also a hard competition. So, good on him.
Yeah.
Because I seriously didn't even see Quinn in the picture.
For sure. And I guess for me, for Chemo, I guess what I want to say is he is heart on his sleeve type of guy. And the moment that I think he realized that he had won, he's like,
tearing up,
and I'm like, man, I kind of like Chemo, but he's got to get his emotions in check a little bit to kind of hang in there, because he's he's
an emotional guy.
Yeah, he's gonna let his emotions run his game, and that's not good if you do that.
There's gonna be some hard situations. He's gonna have to hide that. So I wanted to say hi to Heather. And she doesn't watch, but she knows who Derek is, and we talked about Derek couple episodes ago, because he was law enforcement like Kenny is in this show.
Yep.
But Kenny's hiding it. And if you have watched the Karen Reed case, Kenny on this current show is a Boston police officer. So I said I was going to look him up. I haven't done that yet, just to see, exactly what department he works in or anything like that. But he's hiding that from the people in the house. They don't know.
Right. A couple things about Heather's comment here is one of my favorite players. I thought he did an excellent job throughout his season of Big Brother.
Derek, you're talking about.
Derek, yes. And he had a show later on, was kind of not a spinoff of Big Brother, but because he was such a big personality in Big Brother, he had like a TV investigative cop show for a while that I watched a few episodes. He was actually engaging and I enjoyed it. But the last point I want to make is what you said about Kenny. I was hoping that somebody would kind of figure out the whole cop thing, and he would talk a little bit about the Karen Reed trial.
I know.
A little bit like, hey, I heard about that.
I know, we want to get the tea.
So yeah, interesting, but yeah, definitely liked Derek in one of the past episodes. He was definitely a really good player. Ended up winning.
Yep.
Yes.
We can figure out a way to cross over anything into true crime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all connected. It's all connected, right?
All right. So then it is time for them to go to the vote.
Right.
And
which I didn't look before we get to the vote.
Yeah.
So they finished the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Chemo immediately, he comes in like, okay, the winner was Chemo. He comes down the steps, right? He's crying, da 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 da. The other two guys come down the steps, and then Julie Chen's like, okay, try to save yourself. And it was just chaos because everybody was hugging each other about who won and, oh, sorry, you didn't win.
Yeah.
And instead of them going into a room privately, and Julie Chen was trying to coax them to going into the room and say, go strategize, go do something. And they were like, everybody was hugging. They took up all the time that they had for this. So I don't think Big Brother really thought that out too well and how to bring them back to the group because it was chaos. Then Julie tried to herd a bunch of cats, get them sit back down on the couch.
And they were confused about the speech. When is the speech time?
Yeah.
They were doing the speech when they should have been pulling people in.
They started doing their own speeches, and it just total chaos. The production kind of blew that, but
I wanted to talk more about that a little bit. So
bring it.
That scenario usually happens in the last few episodes, right? When it's down to a few people, they'll do those competitions, or maybe it's not at the
double
end,
eviction
but
night.
Double eviction night.
Yeah.
It's like boom, boom.
Right.
And I think they
Assumed?
know that.
Yeah.
They're like, they've been in the game for a long time. They've got it down. This was first night and they're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so that's what I just thought. So yeah, they blew all their time that they could have been making deals, basically, giving their speeches, and then they turned around and gave the same speech again.
It was a train wreck to me, and I was even telling you about that during the show. I'm like, this is weird. Why are they doing it like this? They got to fix this, but
they're learning like we're learning, I guess
is what it is. But
so I want to talk about Matt's speech.
Bring it.
Because Kenny just kind of thanked his family and was prepared to go home or whatever, but Matt really called out and addressed the whole Angela situation. And if you don't know what that is, Angela was the head of household, older woman, grandma, and just treated him horribly. And he took the high road and said, spoke to his parents and his siblings and said, you raised me to handle this and I know who I am, and forgave her. And I just thought that was a really powerful and compassionate way to just made him look good. He took the high road and was very compassionate towards her because they could have gone the other way too. And people have done that, you know, in the past. So, because she's already feeling like she's going to have a target on her back next week.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think his speech was, calculated because it went on and on and on and on and on.
Oh, yeah. Julie had to cut him off.
Yeah. But I think the calculation was well served on his part. So kudos to him.
Yep. So, yeah, then they voted. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
Well,
were you?
I had a feeling how it was going to go.
They made it look like Matt had everybody's support to stay, and it looked like Kenny was supporting Matt to stay.
Right.
But the vote didn't go that way.
Well, right before they go to the first commercial break, they always try to get it to be a tie. Right. So they'll let like 4 people vote, and it's 2 for Kenny, it's 2 for Matt. Oh, this is going to be close, and then every other person who goes afterwards votes for the person who's ultimately going to be evicted. But, they keep you on your toes, a little bit on the edge of your seat. But that's kind of how this one went. There was one thing during the voting before we revealed the ultimate vote. There was one thing that was kind of weird. Joseph was the very last vote.
Mhm.
And so he gets up from the diary room. He goes back in that little hallway between the diary room and the house itself. And he stood there and he didn't walk out. And he just stayed in there for like a minute. So Julie's like, all right, we're going to reveal the vote. And then you see him run out of the diary room and go sit down.
I did see him like dart out.
But why was he standing in the hallway for like 30 seconds when they're on a live show? Like the producers must have been like, Joseph, get back in there. What's wrong with you? You know, like, but it was just weird. I did notice
he was super late getting back. And I'm like, what was he doing?
He was just standing in that little hallway and he was standing like way back.
Oh, you saw? I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't remember seeing him.
I see everything. I watch the background of movies.
This is why I could watch the same show over and over again, because every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, I never saw that before.
Yeah. I'll watch the background of the movie and be like, hey, what's that guy doing back there? So I missed the movie, I guess, sometimes. I don't know. But no, I just thought that was weird. And then what is this?
Well, so Joseph also was the one that said, we're not going to have this be like every other year because Matt got voted out. So Matt was the one that was voted out. And I don't know if Joseph said it when he cast his vote. He might have said it when he cast his vote. I can't remember, but he sat down and said, I vote to evict Matt. We're not letting this be like every other year, meaning everybody voting with the house. Which I loved. I love that because I get so frustrated every year when they just always do the same thing. It's boring.
Yeah,
it's boring TV when they do that. So
all right, well,
I'm very happy to see that, and I hope they do it with other things too.
Kudos to Joseph then.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that'd be.
At first, I thought it was Chemo that said it, but no, it was Joseph.
Oh,
Joseph
okay.
was the one.
Yeah, kudos to him.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the vote,
and it was a landslide vote. Only
3.
His two partners in crime, Mackenzie and Leah, voted for Matt to stay. And surprisingly, Lisa voted for him to stay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's 3-8, right?
Yep, it was 3-8.
And then, so when he gets up, he kind of says goodbye to everybody, I think, except Angela.
Yeah, there was no contact with Angela. No.
And then he was whispering to...
That was sweet.
Yeah.
With Mackenzie.
At the end.
He grabbed her and he was whispering, and I'm wondering if it was like some strategy or something like that. But, whispering in her ear, it was awesome.
Julie asked... We'll get to that. What Julie asked, what he said.
Oh, okay. Because you'll have to tell me that.
Sure. But so he ends up being evicted. He ends up going out of the house. He gets to meet Julie. And typically, because this is typically unique, typically they would, talk to him a little bit, interview him, and then sometimes they would show goodbye messages. Well, the past few years, and I don't know if I love this or not, but we're doing a podcast, so we are extending the show beyond the hour a night that it's on. But they will hold back some of the interview and do it on like Instagram later, or on Peacock or Pluto TV or something like that. And that's always a little bit frustrating, that you have to go to some other platform to get, to kind of wrap up the episode, that, hey, I got to go here and go here and go here. I don't know. Maybe it's I'm getting old and cranky, get off my lawn type of thing. But I don't know. I want to kind of put the a little bow on it. I don't want to have to go searching for some of those answers. So we didn't see any goodbye messages. We didn't see them, and they're out there, but we didn't get to see them. And Julie did ask, hey, tell me what you said to Mackenzie on the way out, and he claims that he told her he wanted to pick this up
on the outside.
On the outside.
I'll see you on the outside.
I'll see you on the outside. So that was his little thing.
Catch me outside, he said. Catch me outside.
So that was kind of cute. But
let me say hello to Too Fast. Too Fast for Fleas joined us again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, boy, this is
Thanks
big.
For hopping in.
No pun intended. Yeah. And this is 180 from what we were talking about in yesterday's live. So Too Fast for Fleas. I thought you said hello to Too Fast for Fleas yesterday when we had our live.
Yeah.
Okay. You're looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Well, you said a 180. I don't know what the 180 is.
We're talking about
24 hours
a
later.
mass murder. And tonight we're talking about
Big Brother.
That's the 180. But okay. So that's all right. I should have explained it better. Not your fault, Mike. But okay. So
well, I wanted to say about Julie Chen talking to Matt in her interview because I didn't realize how long they had been in the house. So when they come out of the house, if something major, a major event has happened in the world, she'll tell them because they don't get any news from the outside. They have no idea what's going on. And Big Brother was going on when September 11th happened, didn't it?
It absolutely did.
Yeah. Yep. So that would be crazy. Like come out of that house and find out that something like that had happened.
Yeah.
Crazy. So she told him about how Trump was shot at his
assassination attempt at his rally in Butler, PA.
Yes.
Yep.
So
and that the Secret Service director stepped down.
Yeah, she told him quite a few details. And he just took that opportunity to relate it back to him talking about peace in the house. Oh, that was another thing he said in his speech. Was just, we come on this show and we deserve peace. And I thought that was a great point. Like, not to go in there and cause all that chaos. And so then he just related it to the world, like just being kind to each other.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
And our little motto is peace, love, and happiness. That's why I have the symbols up at the top.
Yeah.
We always say that.
But I mean, I think it was kind of that was going to be his persona throughout the show. So him getting caught up in a week one little bash was, probably not what he really wanted to do, and so he really had to turn that around pretty quickly. But overall, I'm still getting the hang of the new Big Brother. So now that we're going to go into a new week cycle, we're going to get a new head of household. They're
tonight,
hopefully. They're going to probably do the nominees, then Wednesday we'll have the veto, and then Thursday the eviction. I think once we get into a cycle, we'll see a little bit more how this new AI game is going to go. There's a lot of, they did a few changes, more than one change this year. So I think people are a little confused. As a viewer, I'm a little confused. So I'll be interested to see how this kind of flattens out. It's been up and down for me so far.
It was a little sad to see Matt go just because he's a young guy and you just know he wanted to be in there for the long run. Like I always feel bad for the first person that has to go. But so now that we're at this point and we've seen them for a week in the house, do you have a favorite, or what are you hoping to see? What do you think might be coming?
I'm still on I'm still on Quinn. I think Quinn will do pretty well.
I'm hoping he teams up with Joseph. They seem like they are.
And we've talked about that would be a bit of a powerhouse if they're able to do that. But I'm just afraid Quinn has immediately associated himself with Angela. They got the BB gun alliance.
Yeah, that's going to come back to bite him.
I think that's going to come back to bite him. So I'm searching for a new, favorite. I have a couple in mind. I really like the way the two people who, got the punishment handled the punishment.
Yes.
And how they navigated the house.
Yes. And I think they're getting close too.
And if you get that type of punishment in week one, there is no reason why you shouldn't be put on the block, because that's an easy person to put on the block and not get blood on your hands, know, but they navigated it well. They stayed involved and engaged in the game. So I'm looking at those two right now as, potential replacements for me for Quinn, because
and that's Cedric and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would see them talking a lot, and they were like right under the radar. We're just playing our punishment role this week. Don't look over here.
And they did a fantastic job at it, and they didn't get into any, you know, they didn't try to lead any discussions, but they were part of a lot of discussions,
Yes,
you know.
they were always in the mix.
Yep. So
always invited into the mix.
Played it smart because they were
had
positive.
No powers.
And
they were positive people. I'm also we'll wrap it up in a second, but I'm really liking Leah. And she was the one hanging out with Mackenzie and Matt. So now that Matt's gone, maybe her and Mackenzie can kind of
the thromance is done, right? The thromance.
So now it's a she-man.
She-man. So on the opposite end of that, before we wrap it up, let's do one more. Who's on the opposite side? Who is, you know, putting themselves in a position to be evicted, and we'll exclude Angela because that's an easy one. So who do you think is maybe your least favorite, or somebody who's probably going to be next on the block or evicted?
She's really they focus so much on her. They haven't really shown anybody else. Are you thinking of somebody?
Oh, I got someone right in my crosshairs.
Oh, who is it?
Lisa.
Oh, yeah. She was drama. She's
drama and
annoying.
And here's my issue with Lisa is that no drama will be left unsaid. You know, if there's a little thing, you know, that someone's gonna say, she's gonna make a counterpoint, or she just has that personality that you aren't gonna disrespect Lisa. You know, I mean, and she's done that from the moment they walked in the house. Oh, you're a chef? I'm a chef. I'm a better chef. I'm a, you know,
yes.
And she's been doing that throughout. And that is, I mean, they're going to run roughshod over her if she keeps doing that.
Yeah. And that type of personality is annoying.
I don't like it.
That's annoying. You got to have some humbleness.
You got to have some humbleness. I agree.
So
anybody else? Oh, okay.
So I think Angela's, you know, target number one. That's obvious. But Lisa's 2.0. She's down there.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Anyone else? Let's see. Twizzle says all women are dramatic.
No, I don't see that. Mm-mm.
We don't say that. That's funny. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to see if anybody had any other comments about, if you're watching the show, if you have predictions, let us know in the comments. And we're getting ready to watch the Head of Household Challenge tonight. So hopefully we have some more breakout personalities and connections being made. It was too focused on Angela this past week.
For sure.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. And we're going to be back talking about Big Brother on Wednesday. And we'll talk about what happens tonight then. And we're not sure when we're going to record next for anything else, but you'll get notified if you hit the subscribe button. So we'll see everybody back here on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.